Mandibuzz is the sixth raid of the 2025 Halloween event. Looks like it's roughly the same as the one last year. I'll still go over some stuff anyway. We'll go over the locations really quick. First one, Savalt Canyon, Island 7. Johto, Route 46, requires rock climb. That's always a nuisance. Hoenn is at Mount Chimney. Sinnoh, Route 207. And Unova, Desert Resort. Desert Resort is pretty easy to get to. It's just a long run, but doesn't require any HMs. For its moveset, it has a couple multi-target moves, which will definitely start to hurt once it's boosted up. Between Air Cutter, Heat Wave, and Snarl, Dark Pulse will be its single target move. Will start just one hit KOing anyway, so it might just start sniping off your Pokemon as is, but there's not much we can do to dodge any of these attacks. So if you missed last year's raid, Mandibuzz has an interesting mechanic where at the end of every turn, Pokemon are swapped out and a percentage of their health is deducted as damage. I believe that there was some mechanic where heavier Pokemon would not be ejected, but I don't think that you really need to worry about that, given that the best offensive typing into this boss is electric, and there are no Pokemon with heavy offensive power that will meet the criteria of not be getting swapped out. I could be wrong on that one, but I'm pretty sure that was how the mechanic worked. So the big thing is you're just going to be trying to do enough damage to this absolute tank of a boss, and you'll be seeing why I say that in a second. So High Winds is going on throughout the fight. It's not like Braviary where all of your Pokemon are swapped out at first, so you will want to lead with a Tailwind. I'll get a little bit more into that in a second. The 75% nasty plot is a nuisance because it will start hitting very hard at that point. If you have the damage, you can ignore it. If you are struggling for damage, you definitely want to haze that off. That will give your raid Pokemon another turn or two to live. It does get a permanent Tailwind at 50%, so you want to save your slower Pokemon for later. And at 25%, it does another nasty plot where you could potentially haze that off again. And a quick little team composition for you. You're going to want to lead with Rain and Tailwind. The rest of the time, you're going to be pretty much clicking Thunder. You'll see I brought Voltackle Pikachus. I could get away with that because I was using alts. I knew exactly how much damage I was going to get out. And I just didn't feel like finding another Pokemon. I had them accessible. So that is an option technically, but it does significantly less damage compared to the special attackers. Just that 10 base stat difference between the defense and the special defense of Mandibuzz makes a pretty big difference. So if you can manage it, just bring all electric special attackers. We will want to set Rain for Thunder to make sure that it hits consistently. Then the additional wrinkle that I'm recommending that you might try, I didn't personally need it, but if you're struggling for damage, this will help you. You need to bring non-Prankster Haze. The reason I say that is Mandibuzz is a dark type, and if you're not aware, Prankster does not work on dark types. It will just not work. The move will not function. So you need to bring something that can click Haze that does not have Prankster in order for it to remove the nasty plot. So Crobat, for example, is a great option. That's my go-to Tailwind, go-to Toxic, go-to Haze, go-to Defog if I cannot use a Prankster Pokemon for whatever reason. So that would be my personal recommendation. There's some other options, but you can figure those out. Then it's going to be all Thunder all the way out. Your Tailwind will wear out on turn 5 per usual, so you'll want to reset it. And additionally, you could use non-Prankster Haze again around the time of that nasty plot going up. You more than likely do not need to get rid of the second nasty plot. You should have enough damage left in the tank at that point if you've gotten rid of the first one. But you will be able to make your raid Pokemon live extra turns by getting rid of that nasty plot. Mandibuzz alone, just doing those spread moves, eating 2 of the move counters for the boss. It has like 4 total moves, but a spread move counts for 2. It does 2 of those. You'll probably leave some stuff up, and the ads might not kill what you have left over. Ampharos is a pretty tanky mon. It will live, and then you might allow a few other of your electric types to live just by sheer luck. So getting into the battle, I'm leading with a Pelipper with Damp Rock. You have a timid Pelipper, I believe it'll naturally outspeed the boss, but I really don't think it matters. Just bring whatever Pelipper you have. I got the Tailwind off, no problem. So it should be good to go. I believe I have magnets on my Ampharoses, and they're not hitting damage cap, to give you an idea. So I'm sure that Ampharoses with like Choice Specs or Life Orb would get a lot closer to damage cap, but I believe that the more optimal play would be to spread out your damage items to get your lower damage Pokemon closer to the cap and at risk of you don't want to overcap with Ampharos because you're leaving damage on the table at that point. So what I elected to do was go with the Magnet and Plate for Manectric and Ampharos being the two stronger of the plus-minus attackers. And then I went with Life Orb and Specs for Plusle and Minoon. The Pikachu has its own unique item in Light Ball, so I did not need to do anything for that. That's part of the reason why I picked Pikachu. It was easier for me to not have to send gems to my alts, especially if I fail to run, then I have to get more gems on them or send extra or whatever. Easier, it's more convenient for me in this case, but they do less damage. You'll see them come up. I think I take a Pikachu out here just to see what kind of damage it does. But we've seen the first nasty plot. I believe the Tailwind might have just procced, I think, when I had the Manectric up, or it's coming up right here. Ultimately, it is the same fight as last year. So if you have any experience with this, we do have access to an additional plus-minus mon, and the feature is working correctly. Last year, it did not work, regardless of any Pokemon on your side on the field. It was cut down the middle. The hard wall in between the two pairs of trainers on the player side did not allow plus-minus to go over the side, and then additionally it had to be plus-minus, not how it's intended to function, that any combination of plus or minus, you can have two pluses alternate or two minuses. So it was harder to get plus-minus to work last year. Should be easier to find the damage this year. I know it was challenging for a lot of people. Other strategies will work. You can get away with Ice. It's tougher because Blizzard is a spread move, and overall just the typing just has worse offensive prowess, but you can still make it work. Rock is pretty tough, but I think that we have better rock types overall. I still just wholly recommend Thunder. So good luck with Mandibuzz. If you have any questions, throw them in the comments. Otherwise, good luck.